Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Hope everyone's doing well. Just first and foremost, I do apologise if my voice sounds a bit nasally and a bit stuffy. I'm coming down from a little bit of a cold, unfortunately. That happened to me over the weekend, so that's why videos were a bit sparse. I do aim to try and do weekday videos, so Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. You'll have some regular uploads. I'm going to schedule these, but my voice will probably still sound the same throughout because I'm going to pre-record these ahead of time and then schedule the uploads. So I do apologise for that. But we're going to do a little bit something different. And today we're going to be taking a look at some Star Wars Black Series. Now, I mentioned, I think, in one of my videos that I had sold and got rid of a lot of my Black Series collection. Due to different circumstances at the time, and my collecting desires were different. But I thought I'd give Black Series one last chance, just to sort of see if it will win me back over and see if I'll collect some here and there going forward. And instead of just buying one figure, which we're going to be taking a look at today, which is the Star Wars Black Series Acolyte. I apologise if I'm butchering the name. I never watched the series because I didn't care to. Chimere, I don't know how you pronounce that name. But we're taking a look at him today as he's one of the newest. And then I figured I can't just judge an entire line off of one figure. So I thought, right, I had a look online, found the rest of the Acolyte wave apart from Kal Naka, and I think it's May and Osha. They were sold out, unfortunately, but I found Indara, Jeki, Sol, and Yord Fandar. Again, if I'm not pronouncing those names right, I'm sorry. I found those online at a retailer on sale, so I thought I'd grab all those whilst I was at it. That way, when you see those videos, we'll judge the line back and see if it's improved in any way, or if I feel Star Wars Black Series as a whole has kind of lost its value and lost its way. But let's dig into this guy. I'm going to pronounce his name Chimere, because the way Star Wars names are pronounced are very weird. But he's also known as the Stranger, so I might refer him to that. Again, I didn't watch this series, don't really care to either. But taking a look at him as I've set him up, I have sort of messed around with him a little bit, and I have modified him already ever so slightly, which I'll show you later on in the video. But let's start with the masked head sculpt that he comes with, because for a first, I think it's a first in the Black Series line, he comes with two alternate heads instead of just a head and a helmet look. And I think that should be the way going forward for Star Wars Black Series helmeted characters, instead of it just being a thin, warped, because a lot of it was with, like, say, clones like Clone Commander Rex, and I think some other clones as well, where the helmet warps around the head and the hairstyle. I think they should just be a simple pop off the head, kind of like some Marvel Legends do. I think that should be the way going forward. But taking a look at the helmet here, I do kind of like this. The bronze and the paint on here is actually really good. The camera ain't going to do it justice, but there is some nice silver and a sort of slight black wash within all these cracks here. The bronze looks really nice. It's quite shiny for a bronze. I don't know if it's actually that shiny in the show. The same goes for his little cufflink here. It's sort of like the same, but it's got like this little green wash onto it, and a little bit of silver there. Again, I don't know if it's this shiny in the show, so whether or not these might need to be hit with a layer of dull coats, I don't know. But I know a lot of sort of Star Wars fans. I'm going to remove his head here real quick just to show it off nicely. a lot of people kind of dub this guy Smilo Ren, which, yeah, I can kind of see, and it's kind of funny. But as I said, the detail on here is really nice. You got the little eye slits. How someone will be able to see out of that, I do not know. To me, that's just not practical. But hey, it's Star Wars. Really nice detail, as I said. It's got a little texture to it. All the cracks are sort of nice and detailed. A little bit of a paint miss on my copy right here, but hey, it's at the back of the head. There's like little scratches and things in here. Whether or not this has been like kind of like I think it was in the last movie of the sequel trilogy. What was it called? Rise of Skywalker. Kylo reforged his helmet and it had all those cracks in it. Whether that's the case of that with this job, or this guy has been sort of going around for a while and these are like the results of some lightsaber battles or things like that. If you want to leave that in the comments, do please tell me below. But there's one of his head sculpts, and as you can see, it changes from the neck, and it can be a little bit of an annoyance. It's probably not plugged in all the way, but this is his sort of unmasked look. I'm doing a little bit of research. I believe the actor's name is Manny Jacinto. Again, I apologise if I'm not pronouncing the name correctly. I do apologise. But I do think this is a pretty good likeness. It's got a little bit of a 5 o'clock shadow goatee going on there. Again, I didn't watch the show, so I don't know how accurate it actually is. But I like the hairstyle. Has like this little tuft coming in his way. Not sure how well the camera's picking that up. But really nice, striking look to the actor from what images I'd seen of him. I can't complain at that. And as I said, the head sculpts come off at the neck, because I don't know, again, I didn't watch the show. Does the helmet give him a collar of some kind? Is there like an undermask in there? I don't know, but as you can see, it's two different neck colours. So, and then I think I've seen it online somewhere. Someone removed this section, like the neck peg, and then hollowed out that section, and the helmet does sort of squeeze on there if you sort of Dremel that out. I've not attempted that, and I don't think I will, because I do kind of like the idea of swapping the heads whenever I feel like it. I do predominantly display him with this helmeted look, just because it seems more menacing. But this figure is actually really nice because it comes with a hard overlay of a poncho, which is really nice. It's got some nice detail in there. It's just plain black, so I don't think there's any need for any wash of any kind unless he's been in like some sort of muddy area. And then he has this sort of cloth underlay to it as well to sort of extend the look and give him a cape. And then underneath he has like some Jedi sort of robes. But I'm just going to take this off camera real quick and pop the head fully on, just for brevity's sake. And he has this sort of like black Japanese kimono, I think, style of a Jedi look. I do kind of like it. It's fairly basic, I'll give it that. Just going to take his lightsaber out of his hand so I don't lose it. We'll take a look at that in a minute, because that lightsaber comes with a new feature for Black Series. But he comes with like this little belt bit. One thing, again, I don't know if it's ever seen in this series or not, but his lightsaber comes with a hook, sort of like a little belt loop hook thing. But on the figure, there's no hook for it to even hook on. Yeah, you're going to probably be displaying it with a lightsaber ignited, which again I'll show you in a minute. But I think that's a little bit of a weird feature. And then he comes with this baggy sort of trouser skirt thing that you see a lot in like Japanese media and traditional Japanese wear. So there's quite a bit of a style obviously going there. Now, I've modified mine slightly because these originally sit and cover his boots. I bunched mine up and stuffed them under the belt a bit. Just that way I can pose his boots a little bit better, and I prefer the look of his boots being more on the ground rather than these giant baggy things just covering over, looking like he's going to trip over if he walks. But going over articulation, as you saw, he has a ball joint of the neck on both top and bottom, so plenty of range there. No butterfly on the shoulders, just a single ball joint there. Your standard elbow, singular this time. And then I remember, because I had Ki-Adi-Mundi in my collection before I sold him, and he had the same as this. He had ball joints on his hands. I'm not going to pop this hand off, but I will pop the other one off, as this one is also designed to come off. Because you can remove his gauntlet thing. But as you can see, it's ball jointed hands. And I think that's actually a pretty good sort of new thing that I think action figures should start using where necessary going forward. Because I think that offers a lot more sort of like articulation going wise, especially for sword wielders. And I'm not sure if the camera's picking this up, but he does have a dirty wash on his arms. Again, if that's in the show, I'm assuming it is. He has very dirty arms. Now, one thing that I have picked up on is, as you can see on his arm here, there's a bit of green in there, and that's come from his gauntlet. So already there is some paint rub going off on this thing, which, yeah, if you're going to be posing him with the gauntlet on all the time, it's not going to bother you. But if you're going for a more bare-armed look, sort of like he's in his relaxing mode or something like that, again, I don't know. Whether yours or not has started to rub off, I know mine has. As you can see, that's unfortunate. And then if you bunch his trouser leg up, I think this is all new sculpt, but he has the standard singular Black Series knee. Mine's a little bit weird. Mine's gone a little bit funny. And then boot swivel, and then forward facing pin for rocker on his leg. So all the standard articulation for Black Series. And he obviously has a ball joint at the waist. But let's get into some more of the meat and potatoes here. Let's just pull him back. His lightsaber. I like this lightsaber design quite a lot, actually. I do like the lightsaber designs that I've seen on here. Some of them are like thicker, and I think this is set. I think the series is set like in the tail end of the Old Republic era. Again, quote me in the comments if not below. But I like the idea that the lightsabers are a bit more thicker and bulkier then, because like later on technology evolved and things like that. And come on, focus. And basically like the lightsabers got thinner. But this one is a unique lightsaber design, and I don't know whether or not I presume he does this in the show, but as well as his standard longer Black Series red blade for a Sith, if you notice this section on the bottom where the belt loop is, it's a bit thinner, and you can see a very clear distinct line on the bottom there, and that's because this section comes apart. And it comes with a shorter blade. So he can essentially take his lightsaber and then, I don't know how he holds it in the show, but he can essentially dual wield with a smaller blade. Now, it's not the first time in Star Wars media someone has dual-wielded with a shorter blade. I believe one of the first times we saw it was with Ahsoka in the Clone Wars. She had a shorter, lighter green/yellow blade. So I believe that is called a Shoto. Again, pulling from, I believe, Japanese style sort of lingo. But this is the first time that the blade and the hilt for the second blade has sort of combined into one, which I do kind of like that. I think it's kind of cool. It's something new. I love it when like Star Wars experiments with its weapons a little bit. I think like the first time we ever saw like the cross-guarded lightsaber was with Kylo Ren. I actually kind of liked that. I thought it was really cool, different design. Gives off that knight vibe, because actually you can even see it right there with Yord. It says Jedi Knight, and in my purview, knights had crossguards on their blades. But presumably this guy is the Sith of the show. Whether or not he's outright stated as a Sith, I don't know. I didn't watch the show. Don't really care to either. But I do like the look of the figures, and I like the idea. And I did have in my collection a Jedi shelf and a Sith shelf, and then a clone/stormtrooper shelf. That was the bulk of my collection. I didn't care what piece of media they came from. If they wielded a lightsaber, most likely it went in my shelf. And it's the same with these, but I did get rid of a lot of my Star Wars, as mentioned previously, because I saw the line going downhill when it came in terms of quality and accessories and things like that. And then the prices were just going up, and I just don't think Star Wars Black Series prices justified what I was getting. There was no value there for me anymore. I don't watch Star Wars new media. Again, not going to get into all that. I have my own reasons. But what do you guys think? Did you pick up Khemia, the Stranger? What did you think of the show? Is the show worth watching? What did you like about it? What didn't you like about it? And did you pick up any of the other figures from the Acolyte line? Who do you think is the best at that? As always, look forward to these videos coming out throughout the week. Again, I apologise if my voice sounded a bit iffy throughout. Again, coming down from a cold, it's nasty. But as always, like, comment and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.